Have you ever wondered what separates those who rise from nothing from those who stay stuck forever? Today, I'm going to tell you about someone who started with absolutely nothing, faced rejection after rejection, yet refused to surrender. By the end of this story, you'll understand the one mindset shift that changes everything. Picture this: a young boy sitting alone in a cold apartment, stomach growling, watching his single mother work 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. No father figure, no money for school supplies, no connections to open doors. Most people would look at this situation and see only limitations. But this boy saw something different. His name doesn't matter because this story represents thousands of others just like him. What matters is what he decided to do when life dealt him the worst possible hand. While other kids complained about not getting the latest video games, he was figuring out how to turn empty bottles into lunch money. The first lesson hit him early. Nobody was coming to save him. At age 12, when his mother couldn't afford new shoes for school, he didn't throw a tantrum. Instead, he found cardboard to cover the holes and kept walking. That moment taught him something most adults never learn. Your circumstances don't define your choices. School became his battlefield. Teachers looked at his torn clothes and assumed he wouldn't amount to much. Classmates mocked his second-hand everything. But while they were focused on what he lacked, he was absorbing every lesson like his life depended on it. Because it did. The rejections started early too. Part-time jobs, school programs, even volunteer opportunities turned him away. Too young, not qualified, not the right fit. Each no stung, but instead of retreating, he started asking different questions. Not why won't they accept me, but what do I need to become acceptable? Here's where most people give up. They take rejection personally and let it poison their self-worth. But this boy discovered something powerful. Rejection is just information. Every no was telling him exactly what skills he needed to develop, what gaps he needed to fill. At 16, he applied for a prestigious scholarship program. The application required essays, recommendations, test scores that seemed impossible for someone from his background. The guidance counselor actually suggested he aim lower, consider trade school instead. But he had learned something crucial by then. Other people's limited vision of your potential means nothing. He spent months crafting that application, wrote and rewrote essays until they bled authenticity. Found teachers who saw past his circumstances to his determination. When test prep courses cost too much, he borrowed old books and created his own study schedule. The scholarship committee received his application along with hundreds of others from privileged backgrounds. The rejection letter arrived on a Tuesday. While your application showed promise, we felt other candidates were better suited for this opportunity. Most 17-year-olds would have crumpled that letter and given up on their dreams. Instead, he called the scholarship office. What specifically made the other candidates better suited? He asked the administrator, surprised by his mature response, actually provided detailed feedback. His test scores were competitive, his essays compelling, but his extracurricular activities seemed limited compared to applicants with extensive volunteer work and leadership positions. Instead of feeling defeated, he felt energized. Now he had a roadmap. He spent the next year creating the experiences he lacked. Started a tutoring program for younger kids in his neighborhood. Organized community cleanup events. Found ways to lead even without official titles or recognition. The second application was stronger. The third was remarkable. By his 4th attempt, scholarship committee didn't just accept him, they used his story as inspiration for future applicants. What changed wasn't his circumstances. His mother still worked multiple jobs. Money was still tight. Obstacles still appeared daily. What changed was his relationship with struggle. He stopped seeing hardship as evidence that success wasn't meant for him and started seeing it as training for the success that was coming. Every challenge became preparation. Every setback became education. The real breakthrough came when he realized something profound. The very things that seemed like disadvantages were actually his greatest strengths. Growing up with nothing taught him resourcefulness that privileged kids never developed. Facing constant rejection built resilience that comfortable people never needed. Having no safety net forced him to develop skills that others took for granted. Years later, When he finally achieved the success he dreamed of, people called it luck. They said he was in the right place at the right time. But he knew the truth. Luck is what happens when relentless preparation meets opportunity. Every skill he developed during those difficult years, every lesson learned from failure, every moment of refusing to quit had prepared him for that moment. The most powerful part of his story isn't the success at the end. It's the decision he made at the very beginning to see his circumstances as temporary conditions, not permanent limitations. While others complained about what they didn't have, he focused on what he could control: his effort, his attitude, his choices. Here's what this teaches us. Your starting point doesn't determine your destination. What matters is your refusal to accept current circumstances as final circumstances. Every time you choose persistence over surrender, growth over comfort, you're writing a different ending to your story. The boy who had nothing discovered, he actually had everything that mattered. An unbreakable spirit and an unwillingness to give up. Sometimes that's all you need to change everything.